We're
Hello, people of
live.
the internet. We're live with no warning at all, as usual. What's up? How's it going, guys? We are 2 years old today. Well, not
Two
we,
years
obviously.
old.
Obviously, we aren't 2 years old, but the show is 2 years old today. We've been doing this for 2 years, Al. Holy
Yeah.
crap! I
Some
mean,
things may change, but others stay the same. I still dislike Nokia 6XX series Lumia devices, and so we'll talk about that later on.
I can't remember what our first show was about because I remember that there was Um, I think Android 4.1 was 4.1 back there. Let me go see what we're talking about. We were talking
I
about Google I/O. Oh, okay, we were talking about Google I/O on episode one,
Yeah,
um, where the Google Nexus 7 and Android 4.1 Jelly Bean was announced, and the Nexus Q.
yes, the
The thing
Nexus
that
Q,
disappeared.
and
Um,
then later on we kind of had a big thing about Windows Phone 7. Uh,
uh,
and and then the one thing that hasn't changed in all these couple of years that we've been doing it is that we are still kind of bored by whatever Apple does with iPhones and iOS.
that is true. I mean, everybody. I mean, most American blogs are going. At least European and American blogs are going crazy about how iOS, um, how iOS has improved now, and it'll be amazing with the new update and blah 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 blah. I still kind of find it, like big deal. I don't know. I mean,
Hey, Google I/O happened this past week and it's
yes,
been huge, and so we have a
huge. It
show
took me it
ahead.
took me one entire day to cover everything that happened at Google I/O. Like one entire day, and I was here in India. So if I was at Google I/O, I would have killed myself. I would have had a panic attack and gone completely nuts because I don't know how anyone who's at the event and alone can cover all those
I
things.
would
Oh
have
my
to be
God.
there with you to do it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Holy crap. Um, all right, let's start with
Let's
our
start
favorite
with the
company in the
most
world.
funny news of the week.
Microsoft is still making Android phones, and it's called the Nokia X2. Except that in their what can I say? In their blog post announcement, they didn't really refer to it as the Nokia X2. They just kept on calling it the X2,
But it's still a Nokia branded
but it's
device. It
still a
still has
Nokia
a
branded
Nokia
device.
badge on it, right? So, so let's just take into account that the X has just been announced half a year ago at MWC 2014, and now we have the successor to the Nokia X, which I think, okay, look, I have made no bones about how much I dislike the XL. I don't think I like the X that much more, honestly speaking. And now we get a new Nokia X series device called the X2, not to be confused with the Series 40 X2 that came years and years ago as part of the Entertainment X series. Um,
So what's new with this phone?
what's new with this one? It has a home button. Uh,
Oh my God, it has one more button. Wow.
Yes, it's got a home button. It's got a Snapdragon 200 CPU. It's got 1 GB of RAM. It's got I want to say it's got a 4.3-inch screen. Yes, 4.3-inch screen.
Uh,
Uh,
4.3,
yeah,
4.3-inch clear black
WVGA
display.
resolution. And
Yeah.
it comes with Nokia X software platform 2.0, which your Nokia X Plus or XL will not be getting. So that's one thing that Microsoft is kind of doing in lockstep with the rest of the Android world over there of low-end devices not getting any software updates at all. Microsoft has done a good job of emulating that convention in Android, not anything else about it. So, Nokia X2 has a design that is quite similar to the rest of the latest generation of Azure devices. So if you've seen the Azure 501 or the 500 or 502 or 503, the X2 is like an enlarged version of it, which tells you where the idea for this phone came from. It's got relatively upgraded specifications across the board, and it's supposed to cost 99 euros without a contract, but essentially it's still an Android phone that does not come with Google services and instead tries to pack in as many of Microsoft's Android app offerings as possible, and it does so in a very thick
Is
and very low end package that will, I assure you, it will have compatibility problems with apps that supposedly work on Android. And how am I able to say that? Well, we've already seen that story with the XX Plus and XL. Foursquare will not install no matter what you do. Now, most apps that require Google's location services, most apps that require any form of Google Play services, which means that even apps that you wouldn't think have a problem actually do. Apps that use Google login will not work. Apps that have features that are so basic that you'd expect it to be part of any Android phone will not work on this Nokia X2 because it simply does not have Google's platform in it. It doesn't have any Google bits in it. We've had this story before. I don't understand why they had to do this again when honestly what we should be seeing is a €99 Windows Phone device.
I know. I mean, you know what's funny about the X series of phones? I really don't like them. I don't see the point in them at all, especially now that Windows Phone no longer sucks that bad. I
And
mean,
now
it's
that
really
Windows Phone 8.1 will run on hardware that is basically Android hardware right here.
exactly. And I mean, why not just why not re-release the Lumia 720, for example, with Windows 8.1? Why not release everything again with Windows 8.1? I mean, just do it and make it cost cheaper. I mean, the 720, Alvin uses a 720 right now, and he's completely in love with it. And I always thought it was a good-looking phone. I just don't understand the need for these X
The saddest part
phones.
about the Nokia
Oh.
X2 is that people will buy it. That's the
Yes.
people
If
will buy it because people bought the Nokia X, and if I search for the Nokia XL hashtag on Instagram, what I see are people posting
who are
pictures of
very
their
happy.
new phone.
Yes, yes, and
Oh
they're
my
very
god.
and they're smiling and they're like happy with this phone, and then
I
they try to use
cannot
it and they're
even
like,
begin
holy
to
shit.
fathom how sad their lives will be in the next couple of years because people buy phones and expect them to last for 2 years, and if you are starting with a Nokia XL, you are going to be in for a treat. So the
I
Nokia X,
Okay, so the another way you can tell how many people bought the Nokia X is that if you go to this blog post for this subject, all right, or Nokia Conversations and read the comments, you will see it. The Nokia X Plus, and XL are not getting the software update to Nokia X, the software version 2.
yeah.
This is due to hardware upgrades apparently that are not there in the first X series.
Seriously,
I mean, it's just a button. It's just one more button. Okay, here's what I read. This is how I read it as. I read it as the X series didn't sell well enough that Microsoft thinks that they need to continue working on getting these previous devices up to speed in terms of software. That's what I read it as.
look, it's
Um,
not like the X2 is going to sell so well that people
no,
will buy
but
it because it has this new software.
So, so if you see the Nokia Conversations blog post about this by Microsoft, you will see a lot of people who are pissed off about it, and I was surprised because I didn't really think that many people bought the Nokia X. In fact, if you read our reviews of the Nokia X and the XL, we specifically said there's no reason to buy this
Please
phone.
do not buy this phone.
Please buy the Lumia 525, for instance, or even the 520, which are much better phones. So hey, it's not like we didn't warn you guys. You guys
Yeah.
went and bought the Nokia X without us. I mean, I don't know. This is you bought this onto yourself.
Look, the
Um,
the comment section for that post resembled every comment section on Sony Mobile's product forums for the Sony Xperia S.
oh god, the Xperia S. I'm gonna get some hands-on time with the Xperia S next week. My sister has an Xperia S, and I'm meeting her, and I look forward to seeing that phone after 2 years of being used by a mom with two kids. I can't wait to see that phone.
But okay, the Nokia X software platform 2.0 basically makes their Android release even more like Windows Phone than it was otherwise. So there are three panes. There's fast lane. There's the home screen. Now it's a proper home screen, where that you can pin tiles to, and there's the app list that works and looks exactly like
Okay,
Windows Phone.
So I thought the app list was a multitasking menu, but apparently it's not a
It's not.
multitasking menu. It's
It's an app
literally
list,
just an app list.
like on
But
Windows Phone.
but it shows you no, but it shows you apps and thumbnails.
No, it doesn't. That's the home screen.
What?
You
Wait.
basically you have a start screen on the Nokia X2. You have an app
Wait.
list on the Nokia X2, and if you swipe the other way on the home screen of the Nokia X2, you'll get to fast lane, which still handles notifications, which means that you will not be able to use any custom launcher on the Nokia X2. So you
No, no, no,
better
no,
be
no. Wait,
happy
wait,
with
wait,
what you
wait. I
have.
need to find out what this picture is. Okay, there's this picture. How do I do this thing where I share my screen? Damn it! I've been using the service for so long that I completely forgotten how to do
This
basic
is
things.
looking for riveting television.
Okay. There's a picture of the Nokia X2, an orange color Nokia X2, and there's a thumbnail on it that says message. It's like the multitasking menu from Windows Phone.
Yeah, that's what you get when you long press on the back button. So they basically made it like
Okay,
Windows Phone.
so there is a multitasking menu now.
Yes,
Okay. Oh
there
my
is a
God.
multitasking menu, and it works
They
exactly
could
and looks
not.
exactly like Windows Phone.
They really should have have detailed out that better. But
Yes.
okay, this is good because now people won't have to use Fastlane to find out what apps they're running.
Yeah.
Good.
So basically, the Nokia X software platform 2.0 is, I would say, in fairness, is a major step up in terms of usability if you really, really want a Nokia X2. But you will not be able to get it if you went with the Nokia X. And that's the most funny and the most sad part of it.
That is
And
really sad. That is
yeah,
quite sad.
that is just sad. And also sad is the fact that the Nokia X software platform 2.0 is based on Android 4.3, which means that
Oh, is it? All
yeah,
right.
which means that you will not get the optimizations or the optimizations that were made with Android 4.4 at the system and kernel level to make sure that Android runs well on a device with limited RAM. And so it is highly likely that your X2 will still be slow and sluggish and really not a great experience at all.
All right, let's move on from this topic. It's too depressing. Speaking of Nokia and Microsoft, according to EV leaks, Microsoft's upcoming phones might be branded Nokia by Microsoft, and Lumia as a brand will replace Surface. Now, okay, here's what I think this means. I think I'm confused, but I think that the upcoming Lumia phones will be Nokia by Microsoft Lumia so and so,
Yeah,
and and the Surface RT tablets will be under Lumia now, so that things um like the Surface RT series, like the Surface RT1, will all be under the Lumia tablet series now. So that makes sense, and I
yeah,
think Surface Pro will be known as Surface now. I think, if this is true.
yes. Because
But
okay, what happened with the Surface Pro 3 is that it was initially announced as the Surface 3, and then Microsoft kind of changed everything to say Surface Pro 3
yeah,
in a matter of hours. So, so okay, I don't think that this approach, if it's true, because it's still a rumor, I don't
yes, still
think this
rumor.
approach is so bad because Nokia by Microsoft is something that that people can understand, and it means that the Nokia brand will still stick around, even in
But
smart.
but they can only use the Nokia brand until 2000, the end of 2015, so the end of next year.
Huh.
So is it necessarily the smartest thing to do? Is what I am concerned about. Because see, okay, like from a branding perspective, this allows people to know that okay, Nokia is now owned by Microsoft. It's the best way to get everybody out there
Yes.
to come to know. Because even now, today, there are people I've met who don't know that Microsoft owns Nokia's phone
There
division.
are people I've met who think the whole of Nokia is gone.
Yeah, well, look, who can blame them? Who can blame them? Who can blame them? Seriously. But this will educate people that okay, Nokia the brand is now owned by Microsoft. But wouldn't it be clever for Microsoft just to come up with a new brand name for phones? Except that Microsoft is terrible at branding, so I'm just confused now.
In both the Lumia 635 and the Nokia XL boxes, there's a little leaflet that says, even though your device is Nokia branded, all warranties and all information about the product should be comes from Microsoft Mobile, OI, and so on and so forth, except in these countries, blah blah blah. So
So complicated.
so it's almost like they are already taking steps to kind of divorce themselves from the Nokia brand. And I always thought that the reason why Nokia still surfaces as a brand, look what I did there. The reason why Nokia still surfaces as a brand on the on the Lumia 630 and the 635 is because these devices have already been manufactured and have already been in the pipeline for a while. So honestly, we are still no wiser as to what Microsoft intends to do with this situation.
No
But in
idea.
essence, I mean, I said it on the unboxing video for the 635. It's still a Nokia branded device. That's how I'm still going to refer to it. And until
Yeah.
the Nokia logo is replaced with a Microsoft logo, that's how I'm going to refer to Lumia devices, especially even if technically this is Microsoft devices that we are talking about now.
Yeah, it's just confusing. I think it'll make it easier if you just do that. Speaking of Microsoft and things, this is the worst segue ever.
Microsoft devices.
The Indian provider, an Indian manufacturer called Lava, that's the actual name of theirs, has a sub-brand called Xolo. It's kind of like how Toyota has a sub-brand called Lexus. So Lava announced their first Windows phone, which is called the Xolo Q900s or the Xolo Win Q900s.
I think it's hilarious that
Which is
they
a
have
very
branded their
complicated.
Windows Phone devices with Win. So Win on both Micromax's side and now Lava's side refers to their Windows Phone devices.
Because they really want people to know it's not an Android phone, it's a Windows phone. So why not just put Win up there? I don't know. It's just like why not, you know? Um, and this phone is it's okay. It's a 4.7-inch 720p display. It runs Windows Phone 8.1. It has a Snapdragon 200 quad-core processor at 1.2 gigahertz, I think.
You see,
Um,
it can be done.
1 GB of RAM. 1 GB of RAM.
Better
8
than
GB internal
this.
memory. 8 megapixel camera. Micro SD card slot. 2 megapixel front-facing camera. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Um, Now, the thing that the way they're marketing this phone is that it's the lightest Windows phone so far, just
brilliant,
100 grams.
brilliant.
I'm not sure if that's the best way to market anything. Well, hey, this is the lightest sandwich. I don't know. This is the lightest phone. I don't know if you're still looking for light phones, but here,
Do you know
it's the
why?
lightest.
It's because they literally had nothing else to say about it.
Nothing else to say about it. They have nothing else to
Nothing
say about
else.
it.
Yeah.
It's the pricing is kind of okay. The pricing is close to 630 pricing. So you get a 720p screen, you get a 720p larger screen, possibly worse build quality at the same or close-ish price as the 630.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't know. So
okay, so the main reason why I included this news in the rundown, we are already spending too much time talking about it. But basically, we are really going to see like these nameless Windows phones come out this year,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
and I feel like, uh,
And we haven't started talking about Android One yet. Okay.
Windows Phone used to be this bastion of like clean design and clean, easily understandable product lines that we didn't have to go and um, look at all these tons and tons of nameless, soulless, completely unremarkable hardware because it was all Nokia. And now with the barriers to making Windows Phone devices removed, I feel like not only will you get devices that are nothing like Windows Phone's devices should be at all. I'm looking at you, Lumia 635. You are also going to get just tons and tons of drivel and nonsense that comes out. And the only saving grace is that perhaps these devices will work better than an equivalent Android device because Windows Phone will be optimized for them. But
And this is Microsoft's plan. So
But it's
I
just kind of sad that now Microsoft is making Windows Phone less like iOS and more like Android, because the whole thing about
Yeah.
Windows Phone is that it gives you the whole deal, the whole selling point about Windows Phone is that you get hardware choice, but you still get iOS levels of consistency. And now you do not get that. All that's
It's like
just out of the window.
it's like this. Suppose Apple allowed any operator, any manufacturer to use iOS. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
You'd get cheap manufacturers making cheaper devices that run iOS, and it just feels strange. Like, it just feels weird. It feels like dirty that that you're getting um that you're getting this experience that you were so used to getting on a certain manufacturer. Like HTC's Windows Phone 8X was a beautiful phone. You've probably heard me talk about that phone for like hours or
We've
collectively.
mentioned that phone on every other episode.
Oh my god, that phone was beautiful. So the HTC 8X was a beautiful phone. Lumias have been beautiful so far. The only manufacturer that made horrible, ugly-looking Windows Phone
Samsung.
was Samsung. But that's forgiven because you can't really expect Samsung to make a good-looking phone. But now we're just gonna get a lot of very generic-looking form factors running Windows Phone.
It's just nonsense, and I'm kind of sad.
I just, but at the end of the day, this is what Microsoft wanted. They wanted more people, more manufacturers making Windows phones, and this is what they're doing to get it. So there you go. We have no choice. This is just, what's gonna suck though is because now we're gonna have to review these phones,
Exactly.
and it's harder on us because the Windows Phone experience it'll be so blur without Nokia's apps. It'll literally be like, okay,
Yeah.
there's no navigation app. There's Bing Maps powered by here.
I mean,
There's
these days you can install here apps on a non-Nokia Windows phone, but you are still missing out on a lot of things that Nokia or Microsoft Mobile has done, like Nokia Camera, Nokia Cinema Draft. I'm just reading off right here. Nokia Creative Studio, Nokia Demi, Nokia Mixed Radio, Nokia Panorama, Nokia
Mixed Radio itself is worth the price for.
yeah, Nokia Storyteller, Nokia Video Trimmer, Nokia Video Upload.
Have you ever used Nokia Storyteller on a side note? Have you gotten
No.
any use out of that?
Because
I've gotten zero use out of that app.
and it's very slow on
Yes,
my
oh.
web or RAM device.
Can you imagine how slow it is on my 1020, considering the amount of pictures I've taken? I've started that app once. I've never used it. I still don't understand the point of that app. Anyway,
Anyway,
apart from that, it's a generic Windows phone. Blah blah blah. Strange buttons. If you see the picture on UnleashThePhones, you will see that this phone has very strange buttons. There's no back and Windows key and search. No. There's just dot and circle and dot. I'm not sure if this is a mistake from the press render side of it because this has happened before with Micromax's first Windows phone, or if this is actually how it's gonna be. But okay, I guess I don't know. We'll see it when it gets released next
Yeah.
month.
in
That's
more
all.
minor news, Skype for Windows Phone now works with Cortana.
Yay!
Nobody uses the Skype. I can't use Cortana. Adobe Photoshop Express is now available on Windows Phone about 10 years after it first came
Oh
to
my
iOS
god!
and Android.
Finally, and Alvin
Finally,
was
we
just
have a
Alvin was
proper
just-
photo editor.
Just last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, Alvin was asking us, guys, do you know any good imaging editors for Windows Phone? And I was like, I don't know. I think there's like this one thing, or Microsoft Paint. Yeah. So hey, we finally have a
Okay,
proper.
Now
yeah,
we've got Photoshop Express and all is well with the world.
all is well.
I mean, I love BSDO Cam. I used it on my Android devices, and it's the one thing I really missed from Android on my Windows Phone. So I'm glad Photoshop Express has come along to fill the void, because honestly, Nokia Creative Studio is just great for like really basic things, and I've really kind of been just relying on the camera quality of the 720 itself to all my food photos and us.
Oh yeah. On the subject of food, happy Ramadan to everybody. If you are following Ramadan, you want to stay away from Alvin's Instagram. Oh my
Yes.
god. There's so many pictures of food. I don't know what Arthur is doing, man. I think we're all just gonna unfollow you on Instagram for a time. Oh my god, it's just insane. But yeah, I mean, Yeah.
Alright, so now we get
Main
to the
topics.
main topics, and I'm going to start off by talking about the devices I've had in this week. One is the Sony Xperia T2 Ultra, and the other is the Nokia Lumia 635, which I've been teasing on and off in the past few minutes. So I'm going to start with the Lumia 635 because I think there's more to talk about with this one. The Lumia 635 is the single SIM LTE variant of the Lumia 630, and the only addition it gets you is LTE, which means that it only has 512 MB of RAM still. And it is currently, I think, the most affordable new LTE smartphone from Nokia. If you are looking for an LTE smartphone, in fact, I don't think you can get much lower than this, honestly. Most or other 4G compatible smartphones in Singapore cost more than the Lumia 635. So that's the one thing that's going for it. Otherwise, it's a pretty compromised experience in every way. I've talked about the 720 before. I loved my 720. I bought it with my own money, and it cost less than the Lumia 635. And here's a list of things you get on the 720 that you do not get on the 635, starting with the proximity sensor, the ambient light sensor, front-facing camera, unibody design, hardware camera shutter button,
Better camera.
Yeah, better camera, LED flash for the camera,
LED flash for the camera. Yeah.
Headset in the box, a USB cable in the box, a decent screen, 4.3 inches at WVGA resolution, a real clear black display, stereo microphones for video recording, higher amplitude audio record, the HAAC mics that Nokia likes to talk about, just a lot of things that I can't even begin to list all of them, because in terms of software, you are also missing out on glance screen. You are missing out on the sunlight readability feature, which bumps up the display brightness way past maximum in bright sunlight, so you can still see the screen. You are missing out on glance screen notifications. You are missing out on double tap to wake. There's no software equalizer. There's no Dolby sound. There's no there isn't even high sensitivity touch. There's no glove mode. So basically, the settings app on the Lumia 635 is quite empty, because pretty much all of the Nokia features that came over the years are not on the 635. And so this I haven't. Okay, that's fine. That's fine if it was actually an okay phone to use, and I don't think that it is, because even though Windows Phone 8.1 is really nice, it's a really well done OS. I have no problems with Windows Phone 8.1 at all. This screen.
I knew you were gonna go straight for the screen first. All right.
This screen is a horrible way to enjoy Windows Phone 8.1. Now, for starters, we've had oleophobic coatings on phones since the iPhone 4 in 2010, and the 635 does not have an oleophobic coating, which means that the screen gets pretty gunked up quite badly, especially after you've taken a call. So, if you are and the texture of the screen, there's something wrong with it. I can't put my finger on it. It just seems like after you've realized your screen is very oily and you wipe it down to make it clean again, the screen becomes very rough to the touch. So it's very difficult to swipe smoothly on it, because the surface of the glass itself is rough compared to other devices. So you will not be able to accomplish smooth swipes using the Lumia 635 if your screen is perfectly clean, which it would be, because it's just disgusting to look at it after some use. There are other things about the screen that I don't really appreciate. For starters, it's not a real clear back display. Nokia thinks and says that it is a clear back display, but it just is not, because for starters, sunlight visibility is pretty bad on the Lumia 635. In addition, the blacks are not very black at all, and color contrast is not really there either. And in addition to that, there is one thing that will bug you to no end if you come from any other phone, and that is the fact that for a few for a few seconds after you've picked up the 635 and you turn on its screen, you'll see vertical lines running across solid color areas on the screen. And the reason for that, and I took multiple macro photos of the screen to confirm this, is that the pixels are more spaced apart on the pixels are more spaced apart on the x-axis than the y-axis of the screen. So essentially, it's like there's unequal spacing between the rows and columns of pixels. And that means that your eyes will get used to it after you've used the phone for a while. But if you are coming to it just as it is, then you will see the vertical lines, and they are almost like an old television set sort of effect, and I do not like that at all. So the Lumia 635 also makes it very hard to get to the camera quickly on every other Windows Phone device. You just need to long press the camera button, camera starts up, take your photo, you are done with it. On the Lumia 635, you need to first wake it up, which you cannot do with double tap to wake because it doesn't have it. You have to wake it up, you have to unlock the screen. Oh, God bless you if you have a pin code on the screen, because you will have to enter that first, and then you will have to either swipe down on the notification panel if you have camera pinned as a quick action in the action center, or you can pin the Nokia camera app to the home screen and access it that way. It just makes you not want to use the 635 as a camera, and you would not want to use the 635 as a camera either because it seems to have inherited the same camera from the Nokia XL, which has the worst 5-megapixel camera I've ever seen in my life. It's even worse than the N95. So, in that way, there is really not much that I can say that is good about this phone. But, okay, battery life is average, really. And the coolest feature about this one by far is the built-in pedometer. That's the only thing that I found particularly nifty about it that I wish I had on my 720, because it integrates with the health and fitness app from Microsoft, and you can see your steps as they take place on a live tile on the screen. So that's the cool part about it. But otherwise, I really struggle to see what is so appealing about this device. And it seems like every single new 6XX series device that comes from Nokia Microsoft devices has made more and more cuts rather than bringing more and more features to this class of device.
It's really silly because the Lumia 620 was such a beautiful phone. Like I loved it, you loved it, and there was finally hope that the 6XX series of Lumia phones would get better. But now I'm worried about how bad the Lumia 530. You know it's coming. You know it's coming along. What will the Lumia 530 have? Because like what's left to remove? I mean, they might remove
3-megapixel fixed focus camera.
They've removed the volume buttons, maybe. I don't know. Like what? Oh my God! What else will it? I mean,
you see, the thing that I loved about the 620 was not even so much its design, but the fact that it came with everything you needed in a Windows phone, at a very, very attractive price. To me, that device set hit the right spot, exactly the right spot in terms of feature set and pricing. It was the best value Windows phone, and I recommended it to people, even at a time when Windows Phone 8 wasn't as mature as it is today. So, I mean, the 620 had, for instance, an LED flash. We could get that, couldn't we? It had a hardware camera button. It had NFC. It had a front-facing camera. These are all like really, really basic nitty-gritty things that we don't even mention in most smartphone reviews. We just assume it's there. There's no reason to talk about the LED flash on a smartphone review, because every smartphone is supposed to have an LED flash for the camera. And so, the 635 is noteworthy, not because it is the first Windows phone to come out that kind of embodies Microsoft's new chassis design for low-end Windows phone, but because it has made so many cuts that actually comes in at a worse value than the 620. or even the 625, because the 625 has more features than the 630. It is a less compromised, less cut down experience. And
But seriously, the lack of a proximity sensor, that's what really got to me. That was the most annoying thing for me because why? Why remove a proximity sensor? How much money are you paying? Are
the
you
lack of
saving?
a front-facing camera is the most serious cut to me, apart from the not choosing a decent display to go with for this phone, because because honestly, if I had the 630 or the 635 to begin with, you will not have seen any cute photos of me and my boyfriend on my Instagram profile, because it's just not possible with this phone.
Yeah, I can imagine. Um, I don't know, man. I am
Please
worried
don't buy
about what
this phone.
the. Well, it's the cheapest. Okay, what do you tell to people who want to buy it as a cheap LTE phone? If they.
No, get a second-hand phone. Like seriously,
Hmm.
there are loads of options out there for LTE devices. Get the Xperia SP. Um, I know the SP is kind of stuck on Android 4.3, but honestly, it's still a great value, especially since its price has dropped considerably. You could get the original Xperia Z, that's LTE as well. You could get even you could even get the 625. You could get the 820. The Lumia 820 had
Ah,
LTE.
the 820.
Yeah, and the 820 has a very nice screen because it's an AMOLED display.
Have you wondered what's happened to these devices? Why is there no Lumia 830 announced yet? Why is there no Lumia 730 announced yet?
I think it's
I mean,
because for on Nokia's part, they they really did not want to have as large a product range as they had in at the peak of their success with Windows Phone, because they would not have the resources to support that many devices. And for the
mm,
820 in particular, I don't think anyone really paid much attention to it.
that's because it was announced along with this 920. Like nobody paid
Yeah, it
attention.
was
The
for
820.
devices like the 720 and the 820, they're kind of stuck in the middle, right? They were announced and then they were quickly forgotten, because when the 720 was announced, the 520 came along with it, and everyone cared
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
520 because it set a new low for Windows Phone pricing. So the 720 was ignored. The 820 came out alongside the 920. In fact, I think you can get the 920 for about 250 Singapore dollars, give or take, without a
Mhm.
contract over here, second hand, mint condition, everything included. So the Lumia 625 comes in at 239. Please get the 920. Just get it. Don't get this.
All right, and I mean, okay,
So
what do you think of the?
this is the second Nokia branded device that I've had to tell people not to buy, because it just isn't a good deal. It's not that it's necessarily a bad phone. It's not broken and flawed in concept like the XL is. As a Windows Phone device, it works, okay, but
Yeah, like
I
I said
don't.
with my Lumia 630 review, I said by itself it's not a bad phone. It's just that when you compare it to what else is out there, it kind of seems like it should be much cheaper.
Exactly.
Than, yeah.
Right
Oh
now,
well.
you can even get the 625 for a lower price, and that will give you a front-facing camera. So the other device I've had is the Sony Xperia T2 Ultra, and unsurprisingly, I'm kind of much more positive on this one. Now, when
I was also using this phone for the last week, but I had to give it back to Sony. Our review is coming up tomorrow. Yeah,
yeah,
there we go.
so the T2 Ultra is essentially Nokia's Lumia, the analog
Sony's
to Nokia's,
Sony's.
yeah, Sony's analog to the Nokia Lumia 1320, and that was a mouthful. But it's not the most interesting phone on the block. It is mid-range in terms of specifications. It basically is like I wanna say it's like an HTC One Mini 2 upsized to 6 inches.
So it's
Um,
like the HTC Desire 816
yes.
to Sony.
Um,
Okay.
from Sony, yeah. And now the Lumia 1320, nobody has cared about it. Nobody has said anything about it. And the T2 Ultra is much the same, because no one really cares about this phone. When it was announced, I'm sure we were also bought by it.
I'll be very honest. I almost didn't review this phone. I specifically asked Alvin last week, should we review the Xperia T2 Ultra? And he's like, yeah, we should. And I'm like, yeah, but I haven't heard much about it. And then I reviewed it and I was like, holy shit, why did I not talk about this phone?
Yep.
And you'll see why in the review tomorrow. Yep.
It is a nice phone. It's not the most amazing or the most innovative phone that you can get. And honestly, its specifications are all middle of the road. It has a 1.4 GHz quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 400, which is very mid-range, 6-inch 720p display, very mid-range again, 13 megapixel autofocus camera, probably came from the Xperia Z.
But the camera quality is not too bad. It's pretty okay.
Yeah, but with that said, its camera quality is pretty much competitive, especially considering the positioning of this phone. It is actually quite a value for money choice because
Battery life.
yes, battery life. I always feel that battery life can be improved when you stuff a large battery inside a phone. That's always needed. And the T2 Ultra packs a 3000 mAh battery. The Z2 packs a 300 mAh battery. So basically, these two phones have about the same battery capacity. And I thought the runtime for the Z2 was amazing until I tried the T2 Ultra because with its lower specifications, it performs even better in terms of battery life.
I know, I was surprised.
I had a very busy day yesterday. I was out since 9 a.m. in the morning, and I only returned home at like 11, 12 at night. And it lasted the whole day. And I wasn't just putting on standby yesterday. I racked up more than 5 hours of screen on time with the Xperia T2 yesterday, with GPS use, with video recording, with photos, with doing everything, subjecting this to very heavy use. And it held up for the entire duration, and even after I got back, it still had about 15% remaining. And I knew that that 15% could last me easily another 5 or 6 hours. So it's amazing. It's not the most interesting phone, but if you get this as a companion, something that you use day to day, I don't see why you wouldn't be happy with it, especially since 720p at 6 inches really isn't as bad as it sounds. I had no problems with the pixel density on this one at all. In fact, I actually enjoyed the utility of the big screen because I think that in this class of device, 6 inches and above, Android works much better than Windows Phone. I wouldn't get the 1320 because I don't think Windows Phone makes very good use of the 6-inch display. But with the T2 Ultra, Sony has done the same thing as on the Z Ultra, which is to make the UI elements appropriately sized for the 6-inch display, which means that you are really getting more of a tablet user interface than a phone user interface. For example, on the home screen, there are 5 columns on it. In the Chrome web browser, text is rendered at an appropriate size for the display, which means you essentially get a larger window rather than an enlarged one.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I've been very impressed with this phone. If I had to live with this day to day, I really don't think I would have much of a problem with it at all. Its size is a bit off-putting at first, but it's nothing that you cannot get used to, especially since it's just 6 inches and not 6.44 inches like the Z Ultra.
Oh yeah, it's much easier to use than the Z Ultra. It's not waterproof like the Z Ultra either. But the only thing that really annoyed me about the T2 Ultra is the annoying placement of the charging port and the 3.5mm audio jack. Really annoying placement. They're on the sides of the phone, which I guess makes sense if you're going to use it in landscape. But it's just it's. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the placement.
Yeah, I kind of can see that the T2 Ultra Sony intended for it to be kind of used in landscapes all the time because the home screen rotates to landscape by default. Also, Sony has also made certain tweaks to the user interface to make it easier to use one-handed, such as you being able to double tap the home button to slide down the notification shade. That's very handy. LG, you don't need to put an extra button there to do it.
I know, right?
So the camera itself, I was very impressed with it. For a mid-range phone, I think it's a great camera, and it just shows it just puts the 1320 in its place because the 1320 has the same 5 megapixel camera that the 520 has. The only thing that annoyed me about the T2 is the speaker. It's too soft. And when you place the T2 down on a hard surface, it gets muffled, so you can't really hear it at all. But Sony and speakers, they.
Yeah.
I am not sure I've ever been able to tell a really brilliant story about Sony and speakers, but there you go.
I feel like Sony and HTC should partner and just release the perfect phone. Or the
And
worst phone, like you never know, but yeah.
and so the T2 Ultra turned out to be more impressive than I thought it would be. I
Mhm.
thought I was just going to go into this feeling really bored with this phone. But when you actually use it and it provides a user experience despite its mid-range specifications, it's really just as fast as any other high-end Android phone that I've used. It provides a user experience that is on par with flagships, at least from the previous year, and I think that although this phone may not get much attention in the press or from prospective people who are interested in it, it is very, very reliable and dependable in its own way. And so it may not be such a bad idea to get this phone. Although it's still waiting on Android 4.4. So, the T2 Ultra is also available in a dual SIM version, which is what CJ has. I've got the LTE one. And I would say that the T
But
series is not the.
I should say that I used the dual SIM version on 3G, and that battery life was insane on 3G. I got almost 2 days of battery life.
Yeah.
So there you go. Whatever Sony is doing, it's working. It's working fine.
Yeah. And so, the T2 Ultra is worth a look at if you don't mind the size and you want something that will last you the whole day without
Mm.
any worry at all.
Yeah,
It's
we-
so refreshing not to have to
yeah,
think about battery life or have
yeah.
to carry a portable charger along or have to worry, how long will I be able to use my phone until the battery dies? It really allows you to do more with your phone than
We
you
kind
would
of
be
gave
able
away the
to
plot of the
otherwise.
review tomorrow, but I hope some of you will still read the review. Just for camera quality events, like yeah, it's. I really was very impressed with it because like I said, I was telling Alvin, should we even review this phone? But wow, I was impressed by it. I think this. I also have my HTC Desire 816 review coming up on Tuesday, and you guys, I'm giving away the floor for all of my reviews. Oh my God. This is why people don't read the reviews. Okay.
This is why you
But
should watch UnleashTV.
yeah, the TLDR version. Basically, I think if you have to buy a mid-range phone today, if you really want to buy a brand new mid-range phone today, the only choices out there right now are the Desire 816 and the T2 Ultra. And I was shocked to say that because they're both really good phones for the price range. Anywho, let's
Alright,
move on to
Google I/O 2014.
holy shit, so much news. Oh my god. Okay, where do we start? Let's start
Let's
with
start.
Android L.
Yeah, let's start with Android itself. Google announced Android L. L is not the final name. You will still get your dessert name sometime later this year, but um,
It's kind
Android
of
L is
it's pretty much
available.
confirmed that it's Lollipop, but let's
Yeah,
see.
Android L is available in a developer preview right now, and the reason why is because it is easily the most major change to the Android platform since Android 4.0. This is like the third. This is like the third generation of Android in many ways. And it's not just in terms of looks, but also in terms of all the under the hood stuff. Because with Android L, the Dalvik runtime is switched out for Art officially. Its user interface is very different. It incorporates something called material design, which is something that Google has been working on in order to unify its design across Android phones, Android watches, Android stuff, the web, and tablets. Um, so essentially, Android L is a very major new version of Android, and it might or might not come to your phone because of how substantial it is. That's the one thing I have to say right out of the gate before you guys start asking questions on when your phone's going to get Android L. Because looking at all the changes and everything that's new, it may not make it to your phone. So Android L comes with a ton of new things, including a whole new application design a whole new set of application design conventions. Basically, if you have used the latest Google Plus app, it looks something like that. We are now stepping completely away from Holo and into this new material design phase. And what it basically is design that is built around how paper works and looks like. It's an extension of what Google has done before with the cards in Google now and cards everywhere in the Play Store and YouTube everywhere. Essentially, they are taking this and now applying it to apps across the board rather than just parts of the app that give you content. So, with Apple and iOS 7, iOS was flattened significantly, and material design follows the same trends that started with Windows Phone 7 in 2010. It makes it possible for Android developers, to create apps that have a quote-unquote 3D look to them, in the sense that developers will now be able to design user interfaces that have multiple layers. So if you see the way that Google now currently is, there are multiple layers to this app. When you tap the microphone button, it kind of has an animation where the search box expands in its place. And material design is pretty much like that, but applied to every user interface element. Also new in Android L is entirely new way of working with notifications. They will now all be displayed on your lock screen. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that either. I'm not a big fan of that.
And it comes with a new multitasking tray, which looks like cards again. Cards arranged on top of one another. So basically, every single visual element in Android L is brand new. It has a new font, new keyboard, new color scheme. The quick settings panel is new.
We almost forgot new navigation buttons.
Yeah, new navigation buttons. The rumor about it being a Google button is not true. Now you get a back button that looks like a triangle. It basically looks like PlayStation buttons. I'm not a fan.
I'm really not a fan of the new navigation buttons. I'm sure they look like something. I can't even pronounce the Chinese company whose name I want to say. The one that starts Xiaomi. Yeah, it's like something they would make. Like, that's how it looks to me. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the new navigation buttons.
But it's fine. You know what? If you don't like the look of the new navigation buttons, you can rest assured that every manufacturer from Sony to HTC to Samsung to LG will come up with their own design for the navigation buttons, so it will be fine.
You know what? I like HTC's navigation buttons. HTC's navigation buttons are really clean and they're really nice. I don't know why they didn't just go with that. But I will say that Android L looks very inspired by HTC's Sense 6 UI.
Yes.
I think it does. Which in turn is inspired by a lot of other things also.
I would agree, especially since the use of the colors. Now the status bar and the title bar, the action bar of the app are now the same color, just like iOS 7. They even for things like the multitasking tray, it apparently now treats Chrome web pages as apps in their own right. So
I'm not sure I like that either.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that either. But Chrome, they essentially make the multitasking paradigm in Android even more in line with what WebOS used to do. Because in WebOS, every browser tab that you opened up was a new card. It was essentially its own app. And so it seems like the same idea has now been applied to Android. So your tabs in Chrome all come out of their sandbox inside Chrome and are now part of the multitasking UI as well.
I'm not a fan of that because sometimes I like to keep things open in Chrome and get back to reading them later on. It might not be a lot of web pages, but it's always some. Now it's gonna be like a separate thing that's running that's gonna bug me because I know it's running there at the back of. I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah. And in addition, Android L also has heads-up notifications, and what that means is that notifications can pop up on top of your current app, like iOS, like Windows Phone. Even if
You know what's funny is when they announced this, I was like, why?
yeah, and you know what? The only thing I see when I see that is that's going to be annoying, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
going to be so annoying. I want to turn that off right now.
I don't understand who. See the notifications. Have you ever heard anyone complain about notifications on Android?
No, it works the way it is. And you know what? I think the reason why it bothered me so much looking at how it looks is because it's so big and it occupies such a sizable portion of the screen, especially if you use it. The app has the quick response buttons for the notification.
Yeah.
At least
And-
on Windows Phone, it is a small strip.
You can't read the whole thing, but you know you got some notification.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and why do we want notifications showing on our lock screen? Who
Because
wants-
iOS does it.
It's so stupid. These are things I'm gonna disable from day one. Like from day one.
And do
I
you
have that on
know?
my phone.
Have you seen a Samsung phone lately? There's so many ongoing things in the notification tree that they will all be on the lock screen permanently.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow.
That would be fantastic. So I think Android L. I'm trying to withhold judgment on Android L until we see it in its final form because I'm sure that a lot of things about it are still in flux because it's a major upgrade. And so perhaps things may change down the road and they may revise some of the behaviors that we've seen or at least give you options to treat it the way you want it to work.
I've also decided that we shouldn't review this until it's actually properly out there, like
Yeah.
a stable release for at least Nexus devices. You know what's funny is that before Google would release any new versions of Android to Nexus devices, but now there are so many normal consumers that have the Nexus devices that Google can't do that anymore. So
Yeah.
now they specifically had to make it harder to get these updates. I don't know. So we're just gonna wait until it's properly stable and everything's sorted out, and then we will, like how we waited with Windows Phone 8.1, we waited until the
Yeah.
final update.
It's
So that's probably what we'll
It's
do.
definitely not the time to really think about it now or evaluate it now because it's still really early and there's a reason why they are branding this as a developer preview because it really is something for developers to test and build their app around rather than for end users to really use it as a day-to-day device. So that's Android as a phone platform because I think the main theme of this year's Google I/O is that Android is coming to basically everything in your life. It
Yes.
basically comes to dominate every screen, every piece of technology that you could possibly think of. And one of the most interesting things, actually, in my opinion, was Android One. And
Okay, let's talk about Android One. So the thing is, lately, if you read UnleashThePhones, you've probably seen how many Indian manufacturers there are that make random phones that are released. And this
and
is
they
funny
all
because,
universally suck.
yeah, and they're all terrible, and they all have a different experience. And some of them have access to the Google Play Store, some don't have access to the Google Play Store. Most of them are stuck on whatever version of Android that they were released on. What Google is doing now is that they're working with these manufacturers to release Android One devices.
The
Android
way
One
to think about
devices.
this is Nexus for the low end.
Low end, yeah. These devices will get updates from Google So they'll always be on the latest version of Android as whatever Nexus device. So I'm sure there'll be some compromises, of course, but at least you will get updates on time. And shockingly, the first company they're partnering with for this is Micromax, an Indian company, which is also one of the companies that is making a Windows phone that was announced last week. So this is very interesting. I think Micromax has suddenly turned out to be a very interesting company. Because they're really going after the low-end market share that Nokia or now Microsoft and Samsung and Sony and everybody really wants.
Look, Android has been used in low-end smartphones for years, but this is the first time that Google has been really serious about pushing Android at this low end. We first saw it with the Moto E, and now, and with Android 4.4, because when it came out, Google mentioned and made a big announcement about how it was optimized for devices with low amounts of RAM. And the one thing that has been a sticking point in the side of Google is that many of these ultra low-end smartphones run Android 2.3 because these devices have such low specifications that they simply cannot run Android 4.0 and above. And so, what this means, what Android One means to us, is that it's actually more exciting than it sounds, because it means that Google now is actually taking an active part in controlling Android hardware at this market segment than even Microsoft is doing. Because when it comes to Android One devices, they will all have the same specifications, they will all use the same chipsets, they will all have dual SIM card slots, micro SD card slots, and they are essentially trying to get manufacturers like Micromax and Spice and Carbon to build phones according to Google's hardware spec.
I'm amazed you know those names, but okay. Yeah. I think this is good. This is going to be bad for Microsoft though, because
this is
lately
great, because to me, I kind of look. Microsoft has kind of wiped up the low end of the smartphone market with Windows Phone and the Lumia 520, and I have always been waiting to see what Google's response is to that, and now we have it, and it shows that both Microsoft and Google are taking the low end smartphone very seriously, and that means that and I'm glad for that, because it is time that we pay attention to low-end smartphones instead of always focusing all our efforts and focus on the high end, because the high end is becoming less and less interesting, and now it's more interesting to see what manufacturers can do at a certain price point, whether we can have a real and decent smartphone experience for about $100 or so. That is what would be really transformative for the industry as a whole.
So, I think previously Google's strategy was to use Motorola for this, and then they sold Motorola to Lenovo, and now that they don't have Motorola anymore, and Motorola has really taken over India over the last few months, because now if you want to recommend a phone that's cheap, you recommend the Moto G or you recommend the Moto E, and everyone's buying that. This would only because the only reason they're buying that is because it's a Google company. It still is a Google company technically, and they know that they're getting upgrades. This would be huge for Google because it would mean more people using Android, more people choosing Android instead of Windows phones,
and more people using the latest version of Android all the time.
And Microsoft should be very worried about this. Microsoft, I would hope that there was a meeting in Microsoft the day after Google I/O to discuss this. Like, what do they do now to compete with this? So, I don't know. Let's see. It's getting really interesting in the low-end segment, for sure. Let's move on from Android One. Google also announced their Google Fit platform preview, which
is health kit.
Health. I obviously have no idea what these things, so I'm just gonna let you talk about it if you want to.
So I'm just going to cover this very quickly, because Google, look, wearable devices are big. Fitness devices are big. So both Apple and Google are trying to make efforts to kind of consolidate all these devices and services under their own ecosystems, because so far, manufacturers like Jawbone, Nike, Fitbit, and all of those companies have been building their own hardware and software ecosystems, and the data that is collected from the wearable devices all goes back to Jawbone, Nike, Fitbit, Sony, and so on. So, with Google Fit, it is essentially a centralized, integrated way that companies can use to build upon for their fitness trackers. It essentially gives Google some control over the data that comes in over these fitness trackers.
I definitely like that apps and devices can talk to each other now. So, for example, Nike was one of the partners that Google announced, and you can apparently now use other devices to earn Nike fuel points. For example, you could possibly in the future use your Jawbone device or your Fitbit device to earn Nike fuel points, which is great if that's how it works out.
Yeah.
It's a really stupid example, but it's great that apps are talking to each other now. I think that's the way forward, even though nobody else is doing it right now except for Google. Let's see. Let's see how this ends up, because right now it's really annoying that if you choose Fitbit, you are just with Fitbit's ecosystem.
And the data is all under
Fitbit. Yeah.
You are locked in.
You're locked in completely, and that's annoying because it's like, and I don't know. So let's see how this turns out.
Android is also coming to your car. So Android Auto is basically Apple's Google's take on Android Apple's CarPlay for iOS. So
did you see the video for this? I think the video was there a video for this? There was a video for this, right? I think there was a video for this. It looked really like convenient, and everybody was really happy, and I was just thinking, I don't remember Android or any car system ever being that effortless to use, and I'm just really skeptical about all. Whenever somebody announces something with a car aspect to it, I get really.
Yeah, and especially when a car is something that you kind of stick with for many years, and to have something that is so easily obsolete in your car is really something that we haven't really thought about the long-term consequences of. I think that I don't want to be in a world where I buy a car based on what smartphone I use. I think that's really stupid. But I think that the reason why Apple and Google care about the car that much is because it's so difficult most of the time to use your smartphone in your car, and most of the current entertainment systems inside cars do not really interface well with smartphones, and so they kind of want to jump into the game as well. But I'm really kind of bored with car things. I don't see how this is relevant to me.
Because, okay, here's why it's an issue for us both. Because this won't be coming to your car that you're driving right now. It's only coming to new cars which are announced later this year, if at all, or maybe next year. And that means you won't actually get this until you wait for a brand new car to be announced. And how often do people buy cars? Once every 10 years, maybe?
Yeah.
If that long. I mean, it would be better if Google released something which you could plug into your car and get it working.
A Chromecast for cars.
Why not? Yeah. I mean, why are we thinking of these things? Where's our commission already?
Another thing that I'm kind of about is Android TV. So Google is trying the TV thing again. They have had Google TV, which failed completely, and then they had Chromecast, which has Android moderate success, but in reality is kind of a limited thing, a single-purpose device. And now there's Android TV, and
You know what? I don't even know. I don't even think we should talk about it. Let's just move on because it's so
Yeah,
boring. I don't think
it's
it's gonna change anything.
it's Android.
Um, it's just
It's
it's
Google's
yeah.
take on the Apple TV, the Amazon Fire TV, the Roku devices.
It's the same thing again, just
Yeah,
from Google,
yeah.
and they're promising things,
And
and it's not gonna
I mean
change
it'll be built
anything.
into new televisions from Sony and
Okay,
somebody else,
so
and they'll
this is
be
the
like,
thing about Android TV. It can either be built into the TV, or it might be released like a Nexus Q thing. Like
yeah.
it might be released separately. But they didn't show off any hardware, like technically anything running. Like
I
I
am
don't.
so
There's no reason to get excited for
I am
this.
so
There's no
bored of
reason.
Google trying to
Get into
do
TVs.
TV things because they okay, look, I know that in the US, Americans spend a lot of time watching TV, and that's probably why they need to invest so much effort in building TV things. But I don't care about the TV. Honestly, if I even cared a little bit about the TV, I'll just get a Chromecast and be done with it because that
Yeah.
works the way it's supposed to work to get your media from your phone to your TV, which is what this sort of thing is meant to do.
The only reason I ever use my TV is to send something from my computer to my TV. And usually the way Chromecast works is that it doesn't stream it over from the computer. So I can't use my Chromecast. The Chromecast is literally the most useless thing I've bought because I don't want to hit my data limit on my broadband connection. So I'm not using my Chromecast. My Apple TV needs some kind of unusually amazing reception to work properly, so I can't send stuff from my computer to my Apple TV. So in the end, I just connect my computer the old-fashioned way via an HDMI cable, which is a lot more reliable, a lot more reliable. So I'm not a fan of these TV things right now. I'm just not a fan of it. I feel like I'm just not a target audience, and that's why I wasn't paying any attention to Android TV. Let's see how it
But
is.
Google Chromebooks will
Yes,
soon,
Chromebooks.
at some point in time, be able to run Android apps.
Now
Now,
this
the
is
way
funny
they
because Chromebooks is something that some people like and some people don't like. I made fun of Chromebooks, and then I got a Chromebook, and now it's my favorite thing ever. Even though I wouldn't carry it to a conference because I would need to actually edit video and watermark images and upload those videos and images. And on a Chromebook, you can't really edit videos or things like that, like the way I can when I'm at a conference on my Mac. But as something that's just for writing, and it's a very niche device, of course, but the battery life is amazing on my Acer CE 720. It's really fast. It has never let me down. It's never crashed at all, ever on anything. And it's Chrome, so you would assume it would crash at some point, but it hasn't. And literally, my Chromebook is my favorite thing ever. I can use it, yeah, and it's so small and tiny that I could use it when I'm in a plane and in economy seating, where I can't, where I don't have space to type on a tablet or my giant
Surface
MacBook.
Pro,
And since I can't, oh yeah, don't even get me started on the Surface Pro form factor. It's just the form factor of the Surface Pro is just it's it's stupid. Um. So and I can't afford a MacBook Air right now. So the Chromebook was a blessing for me because I was very happy. I'm very happy with mine. And now it's getting smarter. You can run Android apps on it. Um, you can Chromebooks are going to get continuity with Android now, so you can technically start writing something on your or start reading something on your Android device and then continue reading it on your Chromebook when you're at
and you
home
can
or at
take
work.
calls and send SMSs with your Android phone by your
So
phone.
it's very basic stuff, but I like it. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
very basic, but I mean, I'm not a big fan of the notifications thing because really I use my Chromebook more to concentrate and write things.
Yeah, that's
But
the thing, isn't it? The way I see it is that this now adds more complexity to what was a very focused product, and I'm not sure how it would go. I'm sure there'll be people who will appreciate the ability to run certain Android apps. It sounds to me like the Android apps will need to be re
windowed.
they will need to be kind of edited, modified to run on a Chromebook. like you won't have the Google Play Store on the Chromebook and be able to use
No,
all.
you do have a Google Play Store on the Chromebook. It's just that I've never had to install an app from, I don't know. It's I'm sure I'll
Yeah,
figure
but
it out
that's a
once it's
Chrome Web
installed.
Store, isn't it?
Yeah,
You won't
it's a
you
Chrome
yeah
web store. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah you won't. I think the way this works is that the apps will need to be modified to work on the Chromebook. In fact, they kind of at this part they kind of skip through it and they weren't really willing to
Yeah,
go
they
into
won't
many
really.
details about how it's
Yeah.
going to work. But at some point in time in the future, Chromebooks will be able to run certain Android apps, and I think that that it's. I just hope they do not dilute the focus of the Chromebook too much
Mm,
because
yeah.
I feel like the Chromebook is a very as a product it does what it says it will do, and that's essentially what it has been successful at.
Uh,
If you consider the
I've been very happy with the evolution of the Chromebook. When I got the Chromebook, there wasn't any offline support at all. Then it got offline support, and I could write a document in Google Drive, and I would save it offline until I connected, and then it would sync it automatically with whatever online services
and
I use.
also the other thing is, have you seen how Android apps look on 10-inch tablets? Will you want to use that on your Chromebook? I don't know.
Oh God, can you imagine? Oh,
The
suppose Google
Facebook
makes
app.
a Chrome Surface tablet thing which flips
Oh god.
over. It's an Android device and it's a Chromebook. Oh my God. This could be the future. Maybe this is Google's plan all along to help to allow more manufacturers to sell Chromebooks. So they allow it to run Android apps, so manufacturers can make a Surface tablet-like Chromebook Android
Oh
tablet
man.
thing. Oh my God, this is it. We figured it out. We figured it out. This is what's gonna happen.
All right.
All
So
right. Apart from that,
we're going to the last couple of items on our rundown, and Android Wear is a real thing now. The LG
yeah,
G Watch and Samsung's Android Wear device, the Gear Live, are now
yeah.
available, like as in really available as actual products, and you can now get one.
Yeah,
Um,
you can buy it from the store. Everybody at Google I/O got either a G Watch or a Gear Live too.
or Moto 360.
Everyone's getting a Moto 360, regardless of
Uh,
what they chose, but they're getting it in like a couple of months or something. I don't
yeah.
know.
So Android Wear we kind of have known about this for a while now because Google has kind of announced it already. But with Android Wear, it's essentially Android running on a smartwatch, and it brings certain bits of the Android experience, such as Google Now, such as voice actions, and to your wrist, including notifications from any Android app, and you will be able to, of course, respond to those notifications. If the Android app had supports the rich notifications that were introduced with Android 4.1, and developers will also now be able to write native apps that run on the Android Wear platform, and I have to say that Android Wear sounds promising, in my opinion. Now that it's actually a real shipping product, but I also think that um, if you have a watch that only lasts about a day on a charge, the Xperia T2 Ultra can do better than that.
Okay, so here's my take on this. All right. I, as you guys know, was against the whole smartwatch thing. I still think a smartwatch is a luxury on top of a luxury item. Like,
Yeah.
a tablet is a luxury item. You don't need a tablet. You want a tablet, but you don't need a tablet. It's a luxury item. A smartwatch is something you don't need at all, and you really wouldn't find that useful, but you want one. Then I got the Pebble Steel for review, and I love my Pebble Steel, but it's only because I used it in a very CJ way. Like, I used it with the different watch faces, and I was very happy with the watch faces, and the fake Rolex watch face is my favorite watch face on Pebble Steel. And I love getting my notifications on it. But the thing I loved most about the Pebble Steel is that it would last at least a week on one charge.
Yeah.
At least a week, and that's if I use it like from 9 a.m. to maybe 8 p.m. and switch it off and put it in a corner. Uh, it would easily go a week, and I don't think I've ever actually seen the low battery notification on my Pebble Steel, because at the end of a week or something, or even if I'm next to my computer, I'll just let it charge up with a magnetic charger thing of it. Now, now, if I had to charge it every day, I would hate wearing it. I would
Yeah.
stop wearing that watch. And to be very honest, Android Wear is just Google Now on your wrist.
Yes.
Mm,
That,
I don't know
and
if it's worth so much money for that. I don't know.
so this is where I'm coming from with Android Wear. I think the potential for it is more exciting than what we have right now. Um because for one thing, both the G Watch and the Dear Life look like big rectangular chunky watches. They are by no means at all fashion
Good
forward.
looking at
They
all,
are
at all.
they are
And if you've seen the tweet pics from everybody who got a G Watch or Gear Live this week,
they do not work
they,
outdoors.
yeah, they're useless, completely
They,
useless in
you
sunlight.
cannot see the time at all. And you know what? That is just a primary school oversight. Like um for a watch to not be able to be seen in sunlight, it should be just criminal. Um, I I think the potential is more exciting than what we have right now, because I don't feel like the technology is there yet to really enable the smartwatch experience that you want. And that is why I think Apple continues to hold off on making a smartwatch, because they can't make a good one right now.
Hmm.
They can't make a good one because if they put a color screen in it, it's just going to last a day. Android Wear watches last about a day. And I feel like this is the same. We are now at this stage at the same point in time with Android Wear in terms of its evolution, as we were when Android 1.0 came out on the T-Mobile G1 or HTC Dream. Because when that came out, we all said, Android's not very interesting. Android has all these flaws. Android has very short battery life. The G1 is ugly, and has nothing spectacular about it at all. And I think that's the sort of same statements that we would make about the G Watch and the Dear Life. I think that Android Wear is very much a first generation product, and it takes time for manufacturers and for Google to really figure out how to build a smartwatch that does not compromise on the primary purpose that a watch is for. And in today's day and age, a watch is for telling the time, and a
Yeah.
watch is for looking good. You can't escape the fact that people wear watches in a time when clocks are everywhere, and in a time when your smartphone can tell the time, and the time is on your computer, the time is on your tablet, the time is on every device that you
Yeah.
possibly own. People wear
So-
watches because watches look good.
Yeah. So that's to an extent that's why so many people want the the Moto 360 over the LG G Watch and the Samsung Gear Live, because the 360 looks so much better. It looks classy. It looks hot. And I want one, even though I don't know why I want one. I just really want one because it looks so good. It's just that the Android Wear right now is really meant for people that find Google Now and find Google Voice Search very useful. For me, I don't really use voice search that often, and I don't use Google Now that often either now, because I stay in a small town in India. And even when I travel, when I take a flight to go from somewhere to somewhere, Google Now doesn't really come in that useful for me, because half the time the flight is delayed or something, and Google Now doesn't know that the flight is delayed. Now, this is just because I live in India. But if you live in America or some place where Google Now comes in immensely useful, then maybe Android Wear might come
I
in
still
useful to
don't
you.
think it's worth $200.
Like if you saw the Android Wear video, you must have seen the video when it
Yeah.
was when it was released. It made things look so rosy and happy. Like for example, the girl who's wearing Android Wear and she's riding on her cycle with her friends and she's about to park into the garage and she says, "Okay, Google, open garage door." And I'm like, okay, that would be cool, but
Yes. But we are about 10 years away from that right now.
yeah. And if I did that over here, I would either get network problems, either from the watch side or the side that
Garage door
from the
controller.
garage door side. Yeah. So I would just keep driving in and I'd slam into the closed door of the garage because it wouldn't actually have worked. And then maybe the garage door will open up. So so for me, to be very honest, for anybody from Asia, for that matter, I think Android Wear might not come in that useful. It might just be some fun luxury item to show off to your friends, but I really don't see the point in it. I would still get a Pebble Steel and be happier with
Yeah.
it.
And look, I'm not denying that there is value in having notifications on your wrist, especially if you, for example, drive a lot, or you ride a bicycle a lot, or you teach, because when you're teaching, you can't look at your phone. Um,
Good point.
but but you know, the Pebble does it. The Pebble has been doing it, and the Pebble works fine. So, and the Pebble also manages to give you a perfectly good experience with notifications and managing notifications while still having week-long battery life. So, when it comes to Android Wear, I feel like we will need to, again, it's kind of technology that doesn't really have um, real world practical
It's
application
a
right now.
solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that can be said for most smartwatches right now. And I think that we are going to go through a few more cycles of iteration and of uh improvements until we see smartwatches get to where they want them to be. Right now, everyone has such high hopes for the Moto 360, but I think that when the 360 comes out, it will have some fatal flaw that will make it much less appealing than it
I like
seems
how
in the renders
you're so
and in the
cynical.
photos. Yeah,
I like how you're both so cynical about this.
I can just see it coming. I
Yeah.
can just see the Moto 360 having some sort of issue, some sort of fault that destroys all our hype-filled, beautiful images of this product. Because
Hey, that just reminded me. Speaking of battery life, how does the G Watch charge?
micro USB.
Oh, that's ugly. It's gonna be ugly. Um, Apparently the Moto 360 charges with wireless charging.
With with random unique unicorn-like
Ah.
charging mechanism that
Oh, come
apparently
on,
built into
really?
the back of the watch.
Why? Oh, come on. Okay, all right. You know what? Screw it. I just don't know what to do with Android Wear. So, so yeah, that's pretty much what we think of Google I/O. And then there's a very small minor announcement where HTC suddenly out of nowhere,
HTC can't
out of nowhere, they were like, "Holy shit, guys, we need to post about this right now."
HTC can't bear to be not in the news. So they announced that they'll be rolling out Android L to the 1M8 and 1M7 within 90 days of getting the final version from Google, which is not really saying anything at all.
90 days is 3 months.
Yes.
Okay, it's 3 months. Which means if Android L is released in like what?
September,
It will be the end of the year.
November.
Like literally the end of the year if you get. So just basically just be like us and just have no expectations of Android L. Like just don't
Yeah.
expect to get it. Just wait. It's like being, if anything, if being a Windows Phone user has taught me anything, it's immense patience. Because I no longer wait for updates to come. I just live my life and hope that someday,
You know,
someday it'll come along.
and the thing about Windows Phone is that is that if you are impatient, you cannot cross-flash the developer preview, but it just makes your phone work in a worse way than it did before. So it kind of teaches you that, you know, it's best to stick with the current version and just wait for the new version to be ready
Just wait,
before
yeah.
installing it on your phone, and you'll be fine.
And Android L right now at this current stage is very buggy. If you have a Nexus 5 or a 2013 Wi-Fi only Nexus 7 tablet, you can flash the image to it and try to install. Get
Unless
it
you're a
running.
developer, just don't, really.
Yeah, you're gonna hate it. I mean,
And I'm not saying that because I'm interested in new Android versions as much as anybody else. But at this point, it's just not ready for your use as an end user because even though the platform itself may be relatively stable based on reports that I've heard, third-party apps are a completely different question.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Mike has it running on his Nexus 5, and judging from his uh, screenshots and everything that he's been telling us about it, I wouldn't install it. I haven't flashed it to my Nexus 7 because I just don't want to go through that. Like, why waste so much time downloading it and then flashing it and then hating it and then trying to flash it back to the stock version of KitKat? I would just rather just wait it out at this point.
Yep.
So yes, so HTC is releasing Android L within 3 months of Google releasing it. But hey, we still don't even know when Google will release it. When do you think Google's gonna release like a stable, public-ready version of Android L? I say August.
I say
take bets.
September.
All right, the bets are on. I say
Because
August because
I feel like a new piece of hardware is going to come out when Android L is ready.
you know why I think August? Because IFA happens in August. That means some people will have new devices maybe Nokia will have some new phones. Who knows?
Please,
Samsung
Sony,
will have
please
the
don't.
Galaxy.
You know, Sony will do something at IFA.
Sony's
and
gonna have
but
the
is that these
Xperia
phones will come
Z2
out.
Ultra.
These phones will come out and running Android 4.4, and then Android L will come out a month later.
I'm sure Sony's gonna do that because that's Sony's style. Did you see that they released Android 4.4.4 for the Z1 Compact
Yes.
this week? Out of nowhere, like nobody has got 4.4.4. Even some Nexus users haven't got 4.4.4.
But
And
hey,
Sony came out of nowhere.
they
and
did it
released
to
it.
show that they can indeed do software updates
It's
on time.
so funny. It is so funny because we're so used to having Sony like my Z. I have a Z Ultra which thankfully has gotten some updates. But if you're a Z1 owner or even a Xperia Z owner, I don't know if you have. I don't know. I just Sony's amazing. Okay, I say this. I say Sony's gonna announce the Z2 Ultra, but they'll call it the Z Ultra 2. And it'll run Android 4.4.4 maybe. That's it. All right. So that's our show, guys. This is our two years of Unleashed TV in one episode, basically. Thanks for watching. As always, we appreciate your feedback. Let us know what you think of Android L. If you've seen the screenshots, if you've seen everything about it. Let us know if you think the X2 has a fighting chance at all. If anyone should bother buying that phone right now instead of a Windows phone. Why would anyone buy the X2 instead of a Windows phone? All right, that's about it. Thanks for watching, you guys. You can follow us at the Twitter links I'll leave below, and that's about it. See you later, Al. See you next week.
Bye.